Hey guys, I just wanted to make a short tutorial video about treating the lungs in Chinese medicine and grief, which is pretty common right now with a lot of folks, and also working on the immune system to keep the lungs healthy in Chinese medicine is the way that we keep our bodies strong and avoid catching flus and colds and things like that, and as well as allergies, which are kind of tending to pop up right now. So I wanted to show you just a quick little tutorial you can do by yourself to take care of your lungs. If you're feeling tightness in the chest or grief, sadness, depression, anxiety, worry, which a lot of us are, this can be really, really helpful to do. And it's pretty easy. So let me just show you guys some stuff. I even wrote on my arm today, so I've either been locked up for too long or I was just feeling particularly like doing some art, I guess. Anyway, so the first couple of points I like to do are on the chest. They're actually on the kidney channel, but they all affect the lungs and grief and sadness and things like that. So the easiest way to find them is if you find your collarbone right here. This big bone coming straight across, and then right where the collarbone meets the sternum, which is the thick kind of chest plate bone right in the center of your chest, where the ribs attach, there's the intercostal spaces in between each of the ribs, right? So you want to find your collarbone and find that first space just below the collarbone. And then you come right up against the edge of the sternum bone. So this is maybe, 2 inches away from the center line of your chest, and it'll be the same on both sides. So right under the first bone, which is the clavicle, and then just beside the sternum itself. And then once you find that point there, you want to find the sternum, which is, I'm sorry, not the sternum, the first rib, and then come right over that space into the next little divot hole right below it. So that's probably about an inch or so below that. You should find a nice little hole, like kind of a little pocket, and then you're sliding right up against the sternum bone. And then do the same thing one more time with the third finger. So just tracing my finger down a little bit till I find a nice little opening right there. So I got 3 points basically, right? And you can do this one of two ways. You can either do it on one side at a time, like I'm doing right now. I like to do both sides at the same time when I can, so I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. I'm finding my first point, second point, and third point. So it's a little hard to see there, but I'm just holding both sides, right? So just for the sake of the video, I'm gonna do it on one side so you can see it a little better. So 1, 2, 3. I can go this way actually. And once you have your points, if you find a nice little tender divots, those would be the best. Just put a nice gentle firm pressure there and hold. Best way to help release the lungs too is to take nice slow, even and deep breaths. So you can take a nice inhale. And then as you exhale, you might put just a little bit more pressure into the chest as you exhale. Nothing too forceful, but just a little bit more. And then as you inhale, you might let up just a little bit. And then same thing on the exhale, a little bit firmer pressure. You can hold this for as long as you want, really. These are great, great points for deep emotional feelings of grief and sadness, overthinking, things like that. This helps to open up the chest. And once you've done that for just a couple of minutes, maybe two minutes or so, then you can move on to your next points. And we're going to actually trace the lung channel. So the first points on the lung channel actually start right up here in the outer part of the chest. It's in the pectoralis major muscle. If you want to look up these points online, you can just type in lung 1 is the name of this first point, and that'll help give you a little bit better visual idea where this point is. So it's in the belly of, or kind of more near the insertion actually of the pectoralis major muscle, which attaches up here in your shoulder. So you get that nice big fan muscle right here, right? And you're coming maybe just about an inch or so in from the armpit line. And right here, and you just want to palpate around a little bit and feel around until you find a nice tender spot. You've got a little bit of wiggle room here. These are big points here, so I'm just poking around until I find a nice tender spot. You know, usually you really should find one. Just enough pressure when you push that you kind of go, there it is. That's the point. So I found mine here, right? So I'm just going to hold that point. I like to do little circles on the points. So just little slight gentle rotations. You can go clockwise for a few times, maybe 10 times. And go counterclockwise 5 or 10 times. This is a major, major, major point on the lung channel. It's they call them mu points, and this helps to open up the entire chest. So this is a great point. Again, you can do this for as long as you want, really. I'd probably say maybe 2 minutes or so should be sufficient. There's also some major Ayurvedic pressure points in this area too. And then once you've done that a few times, then you just want to trace the channel of the lung, and that's why I put these strange markings down my arm for your benefit. So I'm just going to do nice pressure, follow this line. You don't have to be super, super exact with this. Just follow the basic line. This is the bicep muscle right here. So you're coming down the bicep muscle. You're actually just on the lateral side of it, but still on that muscle. So that muscle, you're coming right down that muscle is the lung channel. So we're following the lung channel. And as we get it maybe 3 or 4 inches down, if we find a nice tender spot anywhere in here, we can stop there and kind of hold for a few minutes. There's a major point here, lung 3 in this area. It's a good point for releasing grief, sadness. And then just keep working your way down the channel. When you get to about the elbow, or the front of the elbow, you'll feel this tendon right here, right in the center of your arm, right? And you want to be just on the outside of that tendon, and that's a point called lung 5. So that's another major point. So I might stop there just for a minute and give it a couple of little pushes. And then just keep going. Follow your way down the channel. You can use fingers, you can use the thumb, either way, whatever's most comfortable for you to do. If you find, again, any little gummy spots, any little tender spots, you can stick there for a minute and just give it a little extra love. As you come down to the wrist, you might feel right here where you'd feel the radial pulse right below the wrist bone is where you're going to stop at lung 9. Hope you could see that okay, right below the thumb pad, right? And then work your way up, actually up into the thumb pad as well. So this is the area of lung 10 on this channel. And I like to just do a little bit of palpating right around on the whole pad of the thumb here. There's also a major Ayurvedic pressure point here called telehridaya, which is very important for lung health and immune system health and things like that. So I'll give that a little extra time there. And then you follow your thumb to get to the end of the channel, which is lung 11. So this is on the innermost part of the thumb, and then it ends right at the tip of the nail. So go ahead and trace that channel a couple times. Just go all the way down, give it maybe 2 or 3 runs the whole way, end at the thumb, give a nice little firm squeeze at the end, and then you can work the other side. This one obviously is a little tougher to do both sides, so you might do this one side at a time. So we got our points here, right? We're gonna hold here just for a couple minutes. Open up the kidney 25, 26, 27 points. That helps open up the chest. Go to the lung 1, leave a little bit of pressure here. Open up the entire chest in the first opening of the lung channel, and then trace the lung channel all the way down. And then after we've done that, we can do a point called Ren 17. It's also Hridaya Marma in the Ayurvedic system. And it's just right in the center of the chest. I like to do this as kind of a closing thing. You just put one hand right in the center of your chest right here, and then take your other hand and put it just below your belly button, so right on your navel. Or just below your navel, sorry. Again, big points here in both the Chinese and Ayurvedic systems. And this just helps to kind of ground you right at the end. And take a nice few deep breaths. You can also visualize grief, sadness, all the gunk in your lungs, all the gunk in your system, just descending and moving downwards and outwards. A function called the Panavayu in the Ayurvedic system. So these acupuncture points help us a lot to maintain clear thinking, clear communication. They help us cope with loss and change, and our ability to move forward in a way that's positive and helpful for us. I think a lot like kind of taking out the garbage. So all the stuff of life that tends to accumulate and get stuck in our lungs and that we hold on to too much, this is a nice protocol you can use to just help flush that out and hopefully feel better. If you like, I also really like, there's flower essences, and there's Star of Bethlehem is a nice one. So you can find this at most health food stores, Sprouts or the Co-op. and even Whole Foods and things like that. Or you can order it online too. So Star Bethlehem is a very, very nice flower essence. It's very subtle, very safe to use, but very good for the emotional body and in particular to grief. Couple spices that you can also use too that are nice is pretty simple table spices or kitchen spices would be black pepper is good for the lungs, cinnamon, cardamom, and tulsi, which is I mentioned before in another video, is a great tea to help keep the lungs strong and keep the immune system strong. And other than that, do your self-care stuff, do your acupressure routines at home, and keep yourself healthy and happy. And hope this was helpful, and you guys take care. Thanks.